2025 is right around the corner, so it's time to look and see what we have to look forward to. It's going to be a huge year for coasters, over 100 total, and almost 50 being substantial. Today, let's run them down. This is every major coaster opening in 2025, ranked from worst to best. I mentioned there are around 50 major coasters coming, but I consolidated some of these. You'll see why as I run this list down. Number 34, Antares at Connieland in Switzerland. This is a rollerball, built by a ride engineer Switzerland, 4 others around the world. These are 93 feet tall, but slowly wind its way down the tower. Not super thrilling, very gimmicky, but provides a fun and kinda goofy ride. Number 33, Sawmill Falls at Six Flags Qiddiya. Get used to this park. They have 6 coasters on the list, starting with this Mock Rides water coaster. This one is pretty substantial, about the same height and speed as the one at Jers Summerland, Skatoan, but this one almost has twice as much track. We'll have to see what this layout turns out to be. Number 32, Georgia Surfer at Six Flags Over Georgia. The first ever Intamin Ultra Surf. This looks a lot like a mock Power Splash, but this has the added bonus of spinning cars. It's gonna work just like their half-pipe coasters. 2 sets of seats, sitting on a surfboard, launching back and forth and ending with a splashdown. Not a super complex ride, but the spinning factor is cool, and it gets hot in Georgia. They could use a water coaster. Number 31, the Mock Spinning Coaster at Legoland Korea. This will open with a Ninjago theme, and it's a clone of Turbulence at Adventureland. This has 3 spinning cars per train, and although I've never ridden Turbulence, Sierra Sidewinder is very good. 55 feet tall, 40 miles an hour, 1,250 feet of track. It should be one of the best coasters at any Legoland park. Number 30, all the Alpine coasters around the world. By my count, there are 9 of these around the world. Some better than others, I'm sure, but generally, these give about the same experience. Here are the 9 locations. The first 5 are all in Germany: Erlebnis Boxberg, Alpencenter Bottrop, Erlebnisberg Altenburg, Silberbergbahn Bottomais, Oscarshausen. Then you got Otzmanig in Switzerland, Font Romeu Pyrenees 2000 in France, Grouse Mountain in Canada, and Massanutten Family Adventure Park in Virginia. Number 29, Quantum Accelerator at Six Flags New England. Finally, New England has their launch coaster, but this one's a pretty mild one. This is an Intamin straddle launch coaster, very family friendly, only 45 miles an hour, 2,600 feet of track, very twisted and compact, taking over the old Goliath plot of land. Number 28, Sea Stallion at Six Flags Qiddiya. This is a Maurer Spike coaster, using only a single rail and seating 2 riders per car, using a powered track. The same type of coaster you see on those cruise ships. This also works its way through some rock work, winding around the log flume. 39 feet tall, 43 miles an hour, 1,700 feet of track. Number 27, Aquila at Mandoria in Poland. This is Vekoma's latest family launch coaster. And before you even think Big Bear Mountain, this isn't it. Stat-wise, this is very similar to Lightning at Furuvik. 43 miles an hour, reaches 52 feet tall, 1,460 feet of track, looks like it'll have a good setting, and may even go through buildings. Number 26, Curse of the Werewolf at Universal Studios Epic Universe. This is going to be a super well-themed mock ride spinning coaster, leaning more on theming than thrill, only hitting 37 miles an hour, but including a rolling launch and an LSM multipass launch. This is the first of 3 straight Epic Universe coasters on this list. Number 25, Hiccup's Wing Gliders at Universal Studios Epic Universe. Here we have an Intamin multi-launch coaster themed to How to Train Your Dragon, starting with a dark ride section, 2 rolling launches, and that's all we know for now. It's listed as a thrill coaster, but could be more of a family coaster. We'll have to see how it goes. Number 24, Minecart Madness at Universal Studios Epic Universe. This is the Donkey Kong coaster that jumps over the track, a brilliant idea that Universal filed the patent on, this being their boom coaster. This uses a track at the bottom you can't see, and the track you supposedly jump over is just for show. This won't be super thrilling, but it's definitely a bucket list coaster just for its theme and the new trick we've never seen before. Number 23, the Skyrocket 2 at Steel Pier. This park on the Jersey Shore is getting a Wild Mouse coaster and a Skyrocket 2. A very good idea for a boardwalk park, compact and thrilling. 150 feet tall, 62 miles an hour, a multi-pass launch, extreme angles, hang time and ejector airtime. These are just great rides. Number 22, the Gerstlauer Eurofighter at Ange Michel in France. We know nothing about this coaster, aside from this image. It's clearly a Gerstlauer Eurofighter. Vertical lift, beyond vertical drop, vertical loop. We could easily be looking at a clone of Vindfall at Tivoli Frieden. Something very short but extreme. Number 21, the Gerstlauer at Southport Pleasureland in the UK. At first, people thought this was a Zamperla Thunderbolt, and I can see why. This layout looks exactly like a Thunderbolt. But apparently, this is going to be built by Gerstlauer, a linear inversion-based coaster, beyond vertical drop and airtime to end. Number 20, Wiener Looping at Wiener Prater in Austria. This park is known for its portable coasters coming and going. The ride's owned by individual showmen, but this is a permanent installation. This is a Mock Ride's Big Dipper, starting with a 92-degree drop, 101 feet tall, 50 miles an hour, 1,700 feet of track. We've seen a few of these open in the past, and they're very whippy with sharp angles. Number 19, the Intamin Hot Racer at Dream Island in Russia. One of 3 new coasters coming to this park. We don't have any stats on this, but if it's anything like the first 2 Hot Racers, this should be a very good ride. Single rail, single file seating, tire propelled launches, inversions and airtime, all with just a lap bar. Number 18, Palindrome at Codaland. I know, this is an annual thing now. We've been talking about Palindrome since 2021, but now the track is being built and we should finally ride it in 2025. This is a Gerstlauer Infinity, starting with a 95-foot twisted drop, 2 inversions going over the road, then a weird spike it rises up and does it all backwards, using a turntable to get back to the station. This is only 1,200 feet long, but that forward and backward element will make this very interesting. Number 17, Colossus at Six Flags Qiddiya. This GCI twister is very standard, maybe even a bit on the smaller side. 95 feet tall, 87-foot drop, 50 miles an hour, 2,900 feet of track, a very compact layout and lots of crossovers. And apparently, it's going to have a lot of airtime, but we'll have to see how strong it is. I know, they mark anything with negative 0.001 G as airtime, so it doesn't mean much. Still, it's good to see another full-size wooden coaster open. I just hope those Infinity Flyer trains don't ruin it. Number 16, the Inverted Infinity Coaster at Parque del Café in Colombia. The only other inverted infinity coaster is the launch version, Storm the Dragon Legend at Tusenfryd. This will have a lift hill, 85 feet tall, 1,165 feet of track, 2 inversions. So, a very short ride, but if it's anything like Storm, it's going to be a good one. Number 15, Hot Wheels Twin Mill Racer at Mattel Adventure Park. We're finally getting this Chance Hyper GTX after years of waiting. 2 loops, 2 corkscrews, a launch, maybe a dark ride section, 116 feet tall, 50 miles an hour, 2,500 feet of track, and it just has a lap bar. This will be a very interesting, one-of-a-kind coaster. Number 14, Flash Vertical Velocity at Six Flags Great Adventure. I was excited to ride it this year, but they're making me wait. This Vekoma Super Boomerang is a second of its kind, a swing launch that gets the train up to 59 miles an hour, a linear layout with a forward and backward section, tons of hang time, and even a moment of ejector airtime and whip. Not a long ride, but a very interesting ride, and hopefully a forceful ride. Number 13, Wrath of Rakshasa at Six Flags Great America. The latest B&M dive coaster. This one isn't quite the full 200 feet, but it's bigger than the small 150 footers we've been seeing. It rises 180 feet, 171 foot drop, a 96-degree drop. That beyond vertical angle being a great addition to the B&M dives, and a strong layout with 5 inversions over 3,200 feet of track. I really like how this looks. I just hope it runs well. B&M has been having some issues as of late. Number 12, Fire Runner at Lost Island. This park in Iowa is getting an RMC Raptor, this one being the same as Stunt Pilot at Silverwood. Almost 2,000 feet of track, 52 miles an hour, on a single rail and single file seating. Extreme forces all around. My only concern is the train. This will use 12 cars. Stunt Pilot uses 10. The originals use 8. This could make the ride more sluggish, but we'll have to see. Number 11, Yoi at Wallaby Holland. The first ever dueling RMC Raptor. This will have one extreme side and one mild side. This is green and blue, just like RMC's other dueling model, Twisted Colossus. And aside from the awesome side-by-side interactive setting, the green side will have 6 inversions. This will be the most of any RMC coaster of any kind. Number 10, Helios at Phantasiana in Austria. We may have lost Wild Train, but Helios should make up for it. This is the second ever Mach Striker coaster, the first one opening this year, Vulture at Europa Park. This will not be a clone, and I'm not sure how insane this one's going to end up being. Voltron was number 1 last year based on everything we knew, but as of now, we don't have any stats. Regardless, it should be great, dynamic, launched, inversions. I just don't think it'll top Voltron. Number 9, Raptera at King's Dominion. The long-awaited volcano replacement. As we expected for years, this is indeed a B&M wing coaster. It is a launch model, and it's drawing a lot of comparisons to Thunderbird at Holiday World. They are very similar in stats, 3,100 feet of track, 145 feet tall, 65 miles an hour. So, not the longest ride, but I wouldn't call it short either. This will have a short 5-car train, so that could make it more nimble around its elements. If it's anything like Thunderbird, it's going to be a great one. Number 8, Spitfire at Six Flags Qiddiya. Another Intamin LSM coaster. This one's going to have the world's tallest inversion. A top hat standing 240 feet tall. That swing launch getting it up to 79 miles an hour, going up a back spike before launching to that final inversion. It's like Top Thrill 2, just smaller and with an inverted top hat. It's only 1,900 feet long, so there's not much to it, but that height and speed should make for a fun ride. Number 7. Circuit Breaker at Codaland. The other major Codaland coaster, we're finally getting this in 2025. A custom tilt layout featuring 4 inversions, 2,200 feet of track, 57 miles an hour, 131 feet tall. This should absolutely be one of the best and most fear-inducing coasters of the year. Number 6. Siren's Curse at Cedar Point. Another Vekoma tilt coaster. This one's taller, longer, and faster. This one having a twist at the bottom is a 160-foot drop, almost 3,000 feet of track. This being less inversion-based with only 2, but having some very whippy airtime moments. I've been impressed with this layout since it was announced, and it could be one of Cedar Point's top coasters. Number 5. The Intamin Vertical Launch Coaster at Dream Island in Russia. Here's the other extreme coaster coming to Dream Island, and this is a first of its kind. This is going to have a strong layout, almost 3,500 feet of track, starting with a 167-foot vertical spike, 68 miles an hour, 4 inversions, tons of airtime. Intamin released this concept 2 years ago and are finally seeing it come to life in Russia. Number 4. Iron Rattler at Six Flags Qiddiya. There's no shortage of tilt coasters coming in 2025, and this one is the biggest and baddest of them all. This one's a hyper, 208 feet tall, 73 miles an hour, over 4,000 feet of track, 5 inversions. This is the kind of tilt coaster that's going to be hard to top, ever. So Iron Rattler is setting the bar high, and we'll see how great these tilt coasters can be. Number 3. Stardust Racers at Universal Studios Epic Universe. The premier coaster at Epic Universe. This is actually 2 coasters, running side by side. The highlight of Celestial Park, having 2 launches, a vertical drop, each track rising 133 feet, one side having a barrel roll down drop, the other having a 0G roll, 5,000 feet of track in total. Looks like it has amazing airtime. This could be the best coaster in North America when all is said and done. I just don't 100% trust this to be super extreme. That's why, for now, it's set at number 3. Number 2. Alpenfury at Canada's Wonderland. This premier rides coaster is going to tie the North American record for most inversions, packing in 9 over 3,300 feet of track, having 2 launches. That second one getting up to 72 miles an hour, up and under a 164-foot inverted top hat, rising over Wonder Mountain. Then it darts out into its inversion-filled course, ending with some awesome rolls that wrap around the track going out. And best of all, this will just have lap bars, no comfort collars. I don't know what's going to end up being better, this or Stardust Racers, but I think they'll both be awesome. Number 1. Falcon's Flight at Six Flags Qiddiya. The coaster to end all coasters. Only a daring few would even try this project. But this is Saudi Arabia. Their pockets run quite deep. And here we have the world's most fascinating coaster. Something that, when it was announced, we all laughed at as a joke. Now, the joke's on us. Falcon's Flight is real, and it's almost 14,000 feet long. It rises up 640 feet on top of a cliff, dives down and into a 519-foot camelback, hits 155 miles an hour. And honestly, I don't know if this is the world's greatest coaster. The layout might be a disappointment, but it is fascinating. An instant bucket list coaster for every enthusiast. And I'll be very interested to hear the first reviews coming out of Six Flags Qiddiya this year. That's a wrap on this video. Let me know what you think of my list, what you would change around, and what you think is the number 1 coaster to open in 2025. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, and if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub. Also, check out my second channel where I post copyright-free off-ride footage. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.